Welcome to the official YouTube channel of Premium 32 Vintage. This channel is all about vintage hats. So if you're into that stuff, make sure to subscribe. There's going to be some exciting new videos coming out soon, so stay posted for those. In the meantime, today is all about how to clean and reshape your vintage hats. I've got 4 hats here from a classmate that asked me to wash these for them. So I'm going to go through all the different steps, starting with the wash, going into the steam and reshape, and then lastly, making sure everything's good and it's all set to go. So yeah, let's get into it. I always start the wash filling a bucket or a small trash can just like this one with cold water, not hot water, because hot water may make colors on a hat bleed, which we really don't want to see. So always stick to cold water when washing hats. Then we're going to create a solution of OxiClean and Blue Dawn dish soap. Wearing gloves is not required, but I always recommend it because the OxiClean is harmful to your skin, so I always use them to protect myself. Then I mix it up to make sure everything is stirred in well. This is my trusty brush. I got it in a Vans shoe cleaning kit a while back, but you can use any soft bristled brush. This is the first hat that I'm going to be cleaning. It was very, very dirty on the inside, which is very common with the sweatband. So I'm going to carefully undo the snaps, make sure that none of the pegs get ripped off, because older hats are more fragile and the pegs can rip off very easily. So I always recommend being careful when undoing snaps on vintage hats. Then I'm going to dunk it a couple times, get it all soapy and wet, and then start going to town on the hat. I usually try to go panel by panel, covering every inch of the hat, working from the top of the brim, bottom of the brim, and really emphasizing that inside sweatband, which usually has most of that dirt and grime. After a good 5 to 10 minutes of washing the hat in the soapy water, take it over to a faucet, rinse it out, and make sure to get every last bit of soap out of the hat. You won't want to deal with any excess soap later on. Here's the next hat I was working with. This is a Dale Earnhardt Sr. number 3 NASCAR racing hat. Really not too dirty, but it did have a lot of dirt on that inside sweatband. And of course, taking care of the snaps by gently taking them apart. I'm going to speed through these next 3, but before I do that, I'm going to point out a technique that I use very often. Since the sweatband needed the most work here, I used some of this OxiClean spot treatment gel and applied it straight on, rubbed it in, and then scrubbed that right into it. This is supposed to be used beforehand, but I believe it can be used at any part in the wash. This method of washing hats can be applied to any type of hat, whether that's twill, wool, trucker, or any other style. Right here is an example of what can happen if you're not careful with your snaps. If you can see, it's missing a peg and there's a crack right down the middle. Same thing here with this West Virginia hat. This hat is by far the dirtiest of the bunch, and I actually ended up washing it twice because the owner said it had a bunch of grease stains from work. This was the last hat of the bunch that I was washing, so after that I dumped all the water out, which to me is the most satisfying part because the water usually is disgusting based on what hats you're washing. It just goes to show you really don't know how dirty your hat is until you wash it. The next step in the process is to dry the hats off. I try to do this as fast as possible because the longer these hats are wet, the more likely the colors are to bleed a little bit. This can also happen with washing in hot water. So I always recommend drying the hats as fast as you can and always washing in cold water. If you're washing a white hat that has a lot of staining on it, I also recommend drying the hats out in direct sunlight. This can help get rid of stains on light colored hats, but be careful, it also can cause color fading on darker color hats. After a while, I'll come back and reposition the hats to try to get some of those areas that weren't getting hit by the fan. Now that the hats are all clean, it's time to steam them and bring them back to that nice original shape. The first step in this is to take a steamer. I recently upgraded to an industrial one, but any household steamer will work. And if you don't have a steamer, that's all right. I'd recommend just making the hat a little bit damp. And this step is all about making the hat a little bit softer in order to really get that shape that you want and to make that shape last. So I'll hit the inside of it for a little bit and then get the outside also. Do this for about 1 to 2 minutes. There's a couple of different methods that you can use while doing this. I'm going to be showing you the towel method, but you can use a hat mold if you have it. or putting the hat on the back of a pot once it's steamed. I'm going to show you the towel method. This is the towel that I use to dry the hats. So I'm going to take it on this short edge. I'm going to fold it once. And then I'm going to fold it again. Then once it's folded like this, I'm going to roll it up. I usually roll it up a little looser, but if you have a smaller head, I'd recommend rolling it pretty tight. So it should look just like that. And then we're going to place the hat right on top. Just like that. And then we're going to tighten the back as much as we can. This one, I think we can go about all the way. Then we'll close the snaps there. This method isn't going to give you a perfect shape, but it is still going to be very nice. So then once it's all tight, see it's all the way tightened on the back. And make sure when it's on there, because the towel can be squished around a little bit, you can really adjust it to your desired shape, making sure there's no creases in front, just like that. That is how I like them. And if it's not filling it up enough, you can jam more of the towel in there. And then once that is done, we're going to hit it one more time with the steamer. But for purposes of me doing the best job that I can, I'm going to stick to this hat mold. So I'm going to place the hat right on top. Make sure it's aligned, which you're going to do with your towel. And then once these are snapped, I'll get it to the right position so it looks just like that. And then after this, I'll steam it once again and then spray a little bit of faultless finish on it, and then to really crisp up that shape. And once it looks exactly how I like it, I'm going to take this spray faultless finish, starch luxe finish, shake it up a little bit, and then hit the front a little bit. Then take the brush that I use to wash the hats and just rub that in. I always recommend erring on the side of caution with the spray. You don't want to use too much. I know some people absolutely drench the hats in the spray, which I think is not good for the hat. But just the amount that I sprayed is probably perfect because it dries and kind of stiffens up that shape and reduces the amount of creases and wrinkles in it. Once that's all scrubbed in, I hit it one more time with the steamer and then let it sit for about an hour, and then that hat should be ready to go.
If you found this video helpful, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more videos like this.